They work hard, they practice hard to lead us in worship, to lead us in singing of our awesome God. I'm like going to want to stand on this orange line like the whole night. Just kidding, no. I like to move around a little bit. So, it is the first Wild Side of the year. We're glad that you are here. Things are only going to get better as we continue on every single Thursday night here, having a lot of fun. So we hope that you invite your friends and that they come with you and have a great time with us. I was going to say this morning because I've been speaking every Sunday morning, not at night anymore. This week, this first Wild Side, I decided we need to talk about surviving middle school. How many of you guys think middle school is kind of hard? Come on, be honest. Be honest. Yeah. Some of you guys maybe are in 7th and 8th grade now, so you're like, now I got it. But especially if you're incoming 6th grader, middle school is way different than elementary school. It's crazy different. So, who's on middle school right now? Middle schoolers? Middle schoolers? Yes, that's everyone except for us older people. Yeah. Who's in 6th grade? 6th graders? Woo! 6th graders. Yes. Awesome. See, we need more 6th graders here. More young ones. Yes. Who's in 7th grade? Woo! All right, now who's the big bad 8th graders? They're too cool to even say anything like, yeah, so middle school is a hard time in your life. And you go through so much stuff during these middle school years, during 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Obviously, you have school, right? You have homework, you have tests, quizzes. You have just lots and lots of different things you have to do that revolve around school. Then you add your family dynamic, and whether your parents are together, they're not together, you live with a step-parent, live with grandparents. Family is crazy. Then you add sports. If you're into sports, if you play basketball, football, whatever sport, you got that. Then you got friends, and then if you have friends, that equals drama, right? When you have friends, that equals drama. Or if you are dating someone, in middle school, it's not really dating, it's kind of like, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, yay! And then like 1 hour later, I broke up with them. It's like, okay. So anyways, you got all that middle school drama, dating stuff. And then, and this is probably the hardest part, many of you guys in middle school, this is the age where you start to become a young man or young woman. So your body is going through all these crazy changes. And on top of that, your brain inside is going through lots of different weird things, and like connections are being made in your brain. And I could go through all of it, but it'll totally bore you. But it's very hard to make good decisions right now. You don't know what to think. You don't know what's going on. It's going crazy. And I love middle school because this is the time in your life where you start to make your own decisions. You start to realize who you're going to become and what you're going to be all about, what you're going to believe in. And so these next 3 weeks, we're going to go through this series, How to Survive Middle School. And the biggest things in middle school that I think have to do with other people. We're going to talk about peer pressure, we're going to talk about temptations, and we're going to talk about how to make good choices, how to make wise choices. So tonight, we're going to start with peer pressure. Do you guys know what peer pressure is? Okay. Okay, some of you guys may not know what peer pressure is. Well, I'll explain what peer pressure is in a second, but you'll kind of get it from my stories. I've shared this story many, many times before, but if you're brand new, this is going to be brand new to you. I remember in middle school, I had this friend named Chris, and he was not the best kind of good friend that I should have. And we were hanging out at an old abandoned park, and there was like this old abandoned school, and he just got the bright idea of throwing rocks at the windows at this old abandoned school. And so he was doing it, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden he said, hey, Isaac, you should throw one too. You should throw rocks at the school. And I kept saying no, and I kept saying no. And he kept bothering me and kept telling me, no, you should, come on, yeah. And I don't remember what words he was using, but he was trying to egg me on. You guys know when your friends try to egg you on to do something? That's peer pressure, okay? And eventually it worked, and I threw a rock. And I think I purposefully, I don't remember if I threw it out a window or I threw it like on the side of the window, just, I don't remember what I did. So that was peer pressure. I did not deal with it well. I remember another time in school, and I don't know if this was middle school or this was elementary school, but there was this girl named Janet. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the commercials for Gillette. You know Gillette? Okay, some of the older people do. And they make like shaving blades and like shaving stuff. Yeah. And I think their tagline is like, Gillette, the best a man can get, or something like that. So I put her name into it because everyone was making fun of her. And I said, Jeanette, the worst a man can get. I know, isn't that mean? Horrible. I was a bad kid. So, again, peer pressure. They didn't really egg me on to do it, but everyone else was making fun of her. So I decided I was making fun of her too. So all that to say, I was once in middle school too. There you go. There's my middle school picture.
Really?
Yeah, so I was once in middle school. I know exactly what you are going through. Well, more than the guys, not the girls. But I know what you're going through, okay? And I have dealt with peer pressure, and I know it's really, really hard to say no. It's really, really hard when people are trying to get you to do something you don't want to do. I guess this mic is still not that great. But anyways, so tonight we're going to look at a story from the Bible. It's found in Daniel chapter 3. It's page 793 if you got one of the small black Bibles. And this is the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Have you guys ever heard this story before? All right, cool. Well, some of you guys have, some of you guys haven't. So open up to Daniel chapter 3 again, page 793. It is not going to be on the screen. So if you got one of those Bibles, open up to 793. If you don't have one of those Bibles and you want one of those Bibles, you can still get up and go get one.
That's wimpy.
What's funny is I gave you guys the pages and I'm not even looking at the page numbers. I'm trying to find it on my own. There we go. So Daniel chapter 3, page 793. There's these dudes that had to deal with peer pressure, okay? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So here we go, chapter 3. King Nebuchadnezzar, he made an image of gold 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. He then summoned the satraps, the prefects, the governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials to come to the dedication of this image he had set up. Okay, so this king makes this huge gold statue. Okay, he invites everyone, all of the governors, all of the officials to come and to dedicate this gold image. So the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials assembled for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before it. Then the herald loudly proclaimed, "Nations and people of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." So this king creates this huge gold image, and he makes this law that when you hear the noise of the harp and the flute, basically now, whatever the noise is, he says, when you hear that noise, everyone needs to bow down and worship this gold statue. Okay? It's the law. Everybody needs to worship the statue. If they don't, they will be killed. How will they be killed? They will be thrown into the fiery furnace. They will be thrown into the fire. You guys get it so far? Cool. All right. So therefore, as soon as they heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, and all kinds of music, all the nations and people of every language fell down and worshipped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. At this time, some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May the king live forever. Your Majesty has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, blah, 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 all kinds of music, must fall down and worship the image of gold. And that whoever does not fall and worship will be thrown into the blazing furnace." So basically these guys come and say, here's the law that you said, just to reiterate, okay, as if you forgot already. And, but there are some Jews, that's verse 12, but there are some Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your majesty. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up. So these guys came to the king and said, look, there's those three guys over there, they're not bowing down. They're not worshiping the gold statue. Exactly. That'll tell you. Yeah. Wham, wham, wham. So verse 13. Furious with rage. Okay, so King Nebuchadnezzar gets mad. Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up. Now when you hear the sound of horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand? So the king brings the three guys and says, okay, is this true? Are you going to worship this statue or not? If you're going to worship it, bow down right now. If you're not, you're going to be thrown into the fiery furnace. Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Do you guys get that? You know what? That's tough. We worship our God, and we don't bow down to any other gods. So, we should stop the story there, right? Because we don't really need to see what happens, right? You guys want to know what happened? Well, come next week. No, just kidding. Anyways, instead of finishing the story in the Bible, we're going to finish it on video through this little thing we like to call Veggie Tales. So go ahead and check out the story.